All right, our last example that we're going to do is this more difficult one. All right, so for example, let's write this on your notebook first. Uh, so you should write 8x squared. All right, so you should write parentheses 8x squared, which is what you show, minus 6x plus 10, and we're going to be subtracting. So minus, and go ahead and put another negative 4x. So that's negative, we're just going to write it the same way it is. Negative 4x plus 8. All right, we're going to be subtracting. When we subtract, look what's in between those two parentheses. It's a minus sign. That means we're going to be subtracting. Okay, so we start with this x squares, and they happen to have 8 of those. So there's 8x squares right here. And we also have, I'm going to use green. We have negative 6x. So negative 6x is going to be represented with red. All right, so negative 6x. And then the singles, we have 10 singles. All right, so we start with 10 of those. All right, we're going to be subtracting now. Notice we're going to be subtracting. All right, so let's subtract the 8x squares. Notice we're not subtracting any blue x squares on the right. You don't even see them on this second polynomial. There's no blue x squares. This is just an x. All right, so we just write the same it is. All right, so we have 8x squares. We didn't add any blue x squares. All right. All right, what about any green, or actually, these are just x's. All right, so there's negative 6x's, and we're gonna, this is the tricky part, we start with negative 4x's, but we're gonna minus it. That means we're gonna do the opposite of negative 4x. So we're gonna distribute. What is the opposite of a negative 4x? Right, so it's gonna be positive 4x. So positive 4x. So the opposite of negative 4x is positive 4x. And let's distribute the second one as well. What is the opposite of a positive 8? Well, it's going to be the opposite of a positive 8 is going to be negative 8. So when we subtract, we're actually going to be doing the opposite of whatever is in the parentheses. All right, so let's see. There's no 8x squares. We don't subtract any of those, so we just keep them the way it is. So that's the first one. All right, so let's do the red ones. All right, so I'm gonna use green. What is negative 6x plus 4x? So we start with negative 6x, and we're gonna add 4x. All right, so let me write it here. Negative. All right, negative 6x's and plus 4x's. All right, so what's the difference? Let's just look at 6 minus 4. Our 6 minus 4 is going to be 2. And we have 6 negatives and 4 positives. So we have more negatives. So we're going to end up with a negative 2. A negative 2x. All right, so when we simplify this, a negative 6x plus 4x, we're going to end up with a negative 2x. It's not going to be positive, it's negative. All right, so let's scratch this off that we actually simplify that. All right, the last part, 10 minus 8. 10 minus 8 is going to be positive 2. All right, so we start with $10, 10 singles, and we subtract 8. We end up with 2 positive. So this is how we subtract those two polynomials. All right, so I hope this helps.